Welcome, everybody, and good afternoon. This is Sands and Abbott. I'm Jay Sands.
Hi, I'm Ernie Abbott. Welcome in, everybody. How you doing, Jay?
Doing okay. Listen very carefully. We've only got about 10 seconds to do this. Don't call your friends. Call them now and tell them to listen to this show. You're not going to want to miss this. Even though it's on archives, you're going to want to hear this first. Call them now. So let's get this rolling, Ernie. Good afternoon. How are you, my friend? How's things up there with you?
I'm doing great, Jay. I'm doing great. It's still a little bit cool here, although we officially changed over to spring yesterday. But the sun is shining, and I actually been out doing some yard work the last couple of days, pruning this and pruning that, and getting things ready for springtime. And the crocus is starting to bud, and the daffodils and the tulips.
The what is starting? Wait. Let's step back a second. The what is starting to what?
The crocus.
The crocus.
That's the first plant to appear in my garden.
The crocus.
Up the snow.
I knew that.
So once that stuff starts happening, man, life is good. I'm really looking forward to springtime. I love that season.
The crocus.
And a little cool but sunny and nice today. How about yourself, Jay? How's everything in your world down there?
Everything is fine. It's warming up. Spring is here. It's in the 80s. Let's see. I'll give you an exact. My phone is in charge enough. Yeah, it's up in the 80s. I'd have to assume because that's Florida, man. And it only gets hotter from here. So there you have it. Let's see. No, I let it go too far. It's got a charge. All right, but no, great day here. It's clear. Very few clouds in the sky. Warm, Florida weather, my friend.
Yes, beautiful
and
stuff.
And the Caracases are starting to bloom here.
The Caracas?
The Caracas, yeah. You see people bend over in their Caracas shows. That's.
Oh, I thought you meant like the saltine Caracas or the. Oh yeah, crazy stuff.
Good one, man. Good one. I'm sorry, I didn't think of that. Really, I am. That was funny. Don't ever do that to me again. But that was funny. Yeah, I just.
But we still got some snow on the ground up here, believe it or not, Jay. It hasn't fully melted yet.
Are you kidding me? Really?
Yeah, I'm saying, some places it's still, quite deep. In some of the northern exposures, like my neighbor, I'm a southern exposure, my house, so mine kind of melts quickly. But people across the street still got over a foot of snow in some of their yards and on the sides of the driveway, believe it or not.
Damn.
Yeah.
And how much snow is there?
It's still a lot, man. It's still a lot for this time of year. Normally we're out. We start our baseball practices when I've coached Little League in the past. We get out the end of March. It's still a little cool, but get out there moving around. But the fields are inaccessible now because of the snow that's still on many of them around our town here. Believe it or not.
That is simply amazing.
We get that sun, but what they call it when it's really cool out, ineffectual sun, where really it doesn't melt the snow pile at all. We got 25 degrees. It's supposed to be for a high, I think, coming up Monday. It's
wow.
Like I said,
what is it today?
Below freezing. Unbelievable.
What's the temperature today?
Right now, it's 38 degrees, I believe. 38.
Okay.
Like I said, the sun's out there, but 38 it's feeling like a balmy day compared to we were in the teens.
Yeah, sure.
Within like a week or so ago. But it's you know how it is in New England. We get a little tease, every now and then. Like last week, we had a couple of days that got up in the high 40s, low 50s. So we got that little tease. That's why I thought things were turning around. But then like every weather situation, the weather just went back down to teens again. And
so this business with Punxsutawney Phil is serious business.
Oh, I like to wring that groundhog's neck.
Yeah, but
man.
He's telling you the future, man.
Yeah,
the last few years, he did not see a shadow the last few years. This year, he saw a shadow. Bang, look at this. We've got 6 weeks or 7 weeks more winter. It's amazing. Yeah. Whether it's true or not, it's just an amazing thing.
Yeah, it's like global warming. They had snow out in Egypt this year, too. So, it's crazy things going on in our world.
Well, speaking of crazy things, everybody knows this theme, right? Where is it? Come on, give it to me. Everybody knows this theme, right?
Don't adjust your television set.
No, that was the Outer Limits.
Yeah, I get that one too.
But anyway, if you're listening out there, and I know you guys are out there, please call somebody and tell them they don't want to miss what's going to be on this show today, okay? Because you're not going to want to miss it, because if you miss it live, you're going to kick yourself. I'm just telling you. Today is going to be a subject that we're going to confront. Well, not confront, but we're going to talk about. And we're going to talk about it seriously, because you guys know us. I mean, you know Ernie, you know me. We're not compelled to, just talk randomly about things that we know nothing about,
Yeah, we're more like show me state kind of people.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, we want to see the evidence and if or a compelling argument at least to where we can, I want to go look and see and check it out and check out the information. So this and it's very important that we say that, because I know there are people out there that are going to go ape shit on this one, but
what are those two doing over there?
What happened to them? I think the age finally got to them, is what they're going to say. I think the age finally got to them. But we've got information that we want to expel here, and we'll put it out there for you. We'll have a pretty good discussion on what it is we're going to talk about. So please go out there, get into the chat room, because you guys are going to have questions. I know it. Please tell them. Call now. Go tell your friends. Call now. Tell your friends. Listen, you're going to want to hear this. You're really going to want to hear this. All right.
And as we're transitioning, Jay, if I could just mention, we had Terrell Osborne on last week, and I thought that was a great show. He's a great gentleman. And I had a little contact with him after the show, and he was very appreciative of us having him on, and he really enjoyed himself, and he looks forward to joining us again after their next tour, their next nationwide tour, which will take part in May, June timeframe. So we'll have Terrell back with us after that tour, and he's going to talk to a couple of the participants of his great program, Music One, and have them come on board and talk about their experience and what it means to them to have a great program like he runs up here in my area. So just a little shout out to T.O., the original T.O., Terrell Osborne. Thanks again, Terrell. And we also been discussing getting his uncle, Jeffrey Osborne, possibly on air with us as well.
Oh, so wouldn't that be something?
That would be tremendous.
Wow, that would be great.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Ooh, I love so
future programming anyway. But I'd like to say hello to Chewy Baca, our first donator of the Sands Shaves His Stash for Cash.
Moved right into it, Ernie. You're amazing. You're an amazing man. Moved right into the Wounded Warrior. I love how you did that. Go ahead. Take it away, my friend.
Well, we're doing pretty good on that, Jay. As you know, we're over 50%. We'll be collecting donations till the end of the month. I encourage everybody to get over there and check out the Wounded Warrior Project and all the great programs they have, not only for the returning veterans, but for the family members as well. And I know that's what drew both of us into that whole project, because they do, incorporate the family in the healing process and moving forward. Many of them get out of the service, but they're still dealing with things they saw or did over there in the whatever location they were deployed to. And again, it's just a great organization. It's essentially, civilians all over the United States that are supporting this project with fundraising efforts. Like I know your daughter was involved with the Tough Mothers, and that's another fundraising effort. But it's just tremendous how the American people are stepping up to help these wounded warriors and their family. And I commend those of you that have already donated to our little fundraiser we have going here. It's we're looking at a modest amount of $500, and as an added bonus, we get to see Jay shave his stash. But I think we'll all agree that's going to be a great, fun part of this whole thing. But in the end, we're there to support these warriors and their families, and so I salute all of you that have already donated and those that are considering donating, and appreciate that very, very much on behalf of these wounded warriors and their families.
For sure. And you can go to donate. Just go to www.sandsplace.net, one word, sandsplace.net /SRN. That's SRN, SandsNet Radio Network. And on that page, you've got you can listen to the shows there. You can chat with us there. If you don't have an account on Spreaker, you can chat with us there, or it'll take it to the chat. I'm not quite sure how that works. I'm going to have to look at that. But anyway, in the middle of the page, you'll see a blue hypertext, hyperlink. And that'll take you directly to the Wounded Warrior Project for you to donate. We've taken as low as $1.86 made famous by the 186-point Deuce crew and Goofy Bone. $500 gets you my stash on the air. We're going to do it live the first week of April. We haven't decided yet. And $750, our Sergeant at Arms, Southern Cowboy, is going to shave his head and his beard and stash. If we get to $1,000, Goofy Bone will shave his head as well and beyond. We go to $3,000. We got it covered all the way through. I'd like to mention.
So there's a lot of people waiting to step up to get, take part in this, and I thank you all for volunteering for us, whatever you're going to do for these different milestones we reach. So hopefully between now and the end of the month, I know we're going to at least get to $500. So that stash is history already. So
I'm beginning to wonder. I don't know if they can do it, Ernie. I'll tell you the truth. I don't know.
Yeah. Have faith, my friend. Have faith.
I don't know if they can do it. Hey, look, they don't do it. I keep my stash. We give them the money anyway. Hey, it's a win-win for me. So they don't want to see the stash go. I understand, because a lot of people got attached to the stash, Ernie.
Well, they did, man, and that's kind of your thing across the Spreaker.com world. You're famous. You're famous for that stash, and so there are a lot that want to see that go. Though we're looking forward to that video, man. That's going to be tremendous.
Yeah, maybe for everybody else, not for me. That reminds me. Many years ago, I had a friend who used to own a club, and every time I used to go to see her, I'd walk in the door. You know what she would call me? Hey, Stash, what are you doing here?
Yeah,
it's
see
funny.
that? So even
it's
back
funny.
in the day, you were known for that stash.
Yeah, she'd walk in. Hey, Stash, what's up? The cigarette hanging out of her mouth. What a sweetheart. But she called me, hey, Stash, what's up? I saw her years later again. She looked at me, hey, Stash, what's up? I said, look,
see,
it's amazing.
So you go back to the old stomping grounds. They know that Stash when it comes.
I'm telling you, it's been that way for such a long time. But I'd be more than happy. $500, boom, it's gone. We donate it.
Yeah,
it goes
it's going to happen, buddy. Just get that. Make sure you get a nice blade, a new blade in that razor, because it's going to be going out. It's going to be going down. There ain't no doubt in my mind.
I don't know, Ernie. It's just
Absolutely.
I don't know. We will see.
Absolutely.
We will see.
Yeah, no, it's going to happen, man.
All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break here, and then we're going to give you guys a chance to let everybody know to call them, let them know to come and listen to this show, because you're really not going to want to miss it. I'm telling you. I got a funny feeling we're going to be talking about this tonight too, Ernie.
Yeah, I think you
so.
might be onto something there, my friend. Yes indeed. So
tonight's going to be a big thing. Keep it locked, but I'm telling you guys, you're not going to want to miss this. Call your friends, tell them to listen. We'll be back in just a few minutes. This is Sands and Abbott. What is it, Ernie?
A conversation, and thanks for being with us. And we got Southern Cowboy out there. So thanks. Come on in and join us.
We'll be right back.
Please join the SansNet Radio Network, WEJA Radio, the Sublimination Station, 186 Deuce, Exact FM Radio, The John Bivens Show, Southern Cowboy, the TFOK Radio Network, Grandpa Al Klushka, and the Import King of Cali. Join us as we support the Wounded Warrior Project. Thank you so very much.
In Afghanistan. Our brave warriors are coming home, wounded. Some with wounds you can see, some with wounds you can't see. Wounded Warrior Project was created to support our men and women coming off the battlefield. Please help carry these warriors the rest of the way home. Get involved at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Yeah, buddy, we're talking about the Great American Stash for Cash. That's right. All-American Jay Sands, host, owner, and supervisor CEO of the SansNet Radio Network and International Playboy. will shave his mustache off if you donate your money. So donate your money, because all proceeds go to the Wounded Warrior Project. Now remember, $500 get you Jay's stash. $750, Southern Cowboys head and beard, and of course $1,000, Goofy Bones everything. So send your money in right now. Check out all the links all across Spreaker. Just check the comment box out, or go to the Sublimation Station Facebook page, and you'll see the link right there on the page. Thank you ever so much for your donations.
Hey everybody, this is Ernie from WEJA Radio. Come on over and stop by and have a listen to DJ Bobby Brown with Lost Records of the Rock Era, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And of course, my show is on 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, followed by DJ David Allen in the evenings with his Quiet Storm, starting at 9 p.m. here on WEJA Radio.
Voted Best Stash by Mustache Aficionado in 2013. Voted Best Skype Call Show by the Eternal Order of the Super Secret Skype Chat. Quality shit shows agree. You're listening to Night Talk with Jay Sands on the Sandsnet Radio Network. Only on Spreaker.com.
And all you guys know Ernie Abbott. I mean, I trust him explicitly. I don't believe that the man is a liar in any aspect of the word. And something happened on Night Talk a few nights ago that I don't think anybody who listened to the show picked up on except me. I was discussing something with Pumpkin Face, and as we get in our conversations, me and Pumpkin, we love going at each other. And Ernie said something that had to do with what we were talking about. But here's what he said. He said, "Well, Pumpkin, I've seen the information on UFOs, and they really do exist." And I kind of stopped for a second, and Pumpkin answered his question, but he completely bypassed the whole I've seen the proof. Well, we all know that Ernie Abbott has worked for the NSA many, many, many years ago. And let me start off by saying that anything he's saying today does not break any rules. He's not breaking any laws. And hopefully, and I say that hopefully, they don't come and drag us out of the houses today. And
No. I said, like I told you earlier, Jay, when I left the service, I had to sign a 10-year agreement not to talk about anything I had seen or heard or what have you. But that is so long since passed, so we're all safe. And I have my right hand on the Bible and my left hand in the air, and I'm ready to swear the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me.
You know what? I don't even need that. But tell everybody what it is that you saw way back when. I mean, now these are papers that were not put out. This was part of Project Blue Book, correct?
Right.
Okay.
And you had your Blue Book paper that was released to the public,
right,
in about June of 1968, and then you had your paper that is only seen by certain people. The military. If you have a clearance, the information you have access to is on a need-to-know basis. So, I was fortunate enough that my supervisor actually had met with some people. They were talking about reopening the Blue Book project, and they had a seminar on that, and they had passed out the actual copy to these folks because they obviously all have top secret specialized intelligence security clearances. And, although she wasn't technically supposed to share this information with the rest of the office, she kindly did, and we all had our opportunity to read the public report that never saw the light of day in the public. It was again, written in connection with the Blue Book Project, where you had your one report that was released to the public and your other report, like I said, that would never see the light of day. That was the true and complete and very interesting report it was. And, just my recollection of it was the fact that the bottom line right in the abstract at the beginning of this report was exactly stated that UFOs have, there was a UFO that crash landed here in the United States, and people were involved with the, getting this craft and the bodies that were on board that craft.
Roswell, New Mexico.
Right. And I know, like you said earlier, there were initial reports where that it actually happened that were released to the public.
Right.
But that they sort of backtracked and said, well, no, it was some public relations officer that was speaking out of turn, when in fact it was actually this or that and not what was initially reported. So they backed off of that initial report. But in fact, it was a truthful statement on the part of the government at that point in time. And, and basically, quoting from the original abstract of why this thing happened, it says, I'm quoting here, over the years, the evidence on UFO has continued to mount. Many sightings are eventually explained, but an impressive number are not. This study examines the evidence, showing that its credibility has grown as the unknowns, quote unquote, have accumulated. This study also examines the likelihood of extraterrestrial life and attempts to draw inferences about the technical and logical advances in other worlds. And they're still trying to figure out what that craft was made of that crash landed here. And it concludes there is a growing case for the reality of UFOs, and that extraterrestrial life almost certainly exists. See, they alluded to it without saying specifically that it is, in fact, they know for a fact that there is life out there.
In the original papers,
the original report alluded to it, but not, coming out and actually admitting that information.
But now the papers you saw admitted that.
Yes, exactly,
okay.
Exactly.
Just want to keep
it's a
on
little
track.
bit different. And this paper was so in-depth and thorough. The investigations, I mean, they really spent a lot of time talking to a lot of people around our country and other places around the world while they were doing their investigation. And, they talked about how, unidentified flying objects may constitute one of the most peculiar mysteries, if not the greatest in all of recorded history. The mystery is peculiar because its incidents are both current and repetitious. And they go throughout our history. They have evidence in caves that were, drawn by the Neanderthals back in the day when they were cave dwellers, of a craft. And, how are they going to know about that, back in those days? And they were mentioned in the Old Testament of the Bible, includes passages about the landing of a strange craft, which could be interpreted as a UFO sighting, in the year 597 BC. So, and then through the Middle Ages, there were reports of observed phenomena in the sky. And during World War II, many of the Allied pilots observed strange and unidentified objects while flying missions, like you were just referring to. And they referred to those as Foo fighters back in the old days.
That's right.
In any event, these mysterious sightings are not limited to any specific time frame. They're throughout the history of humans on this earth. So, I know there are people that are still skeptical. A lot of people from the Missouri, the show me state, they want to see the information. But if you could see this blue paper, and like I said, it contained photographs, many that were dismissed as fake, but many that were absolutely accurate, and the government points to that as part of the evidence that we know for sure.
So by what you saw in those papers, Roswell did happen. There was a crash. There were survivors. There were alien bodies taken from that site.
Yes.
Which is a claim made by Philip Corso as well in his book, The Day After Roswell, which you should read. I've read it, and it's just an amazing account of what happened from the time that he got there. Because he was in charge of military intelligence.
Right.
And he was connected straight to the man running the whole show. I forget his name.
But there, there were many other regular soldiers that were stationed on that place at that time,
right,
that were, were taken to a room and sworn to secrecy, but have since, before they passed in their elderly age, many years after the fact, have come out and talked about their experiences in regard to this whole situation, and there's some very, very credible people, as you just mentioned, that gentleman that was the head had reported in that book. But it's again something that you can believe or not believe. But I've seen it and read it with my own eyes, and I think people deep down, if you really think about it, to think that we're alone in this universe is kind of a silly conjecture, if you will.
Self-centered, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's not the case, and as far as where they come from, they have no idea where these craft have come from. Obviously, we don't have the technology at this point to go that far into space or to look out in that part of space through telescopes or observatories or whatever. The technology on our end just isn't there. So, they're from other galaxies, and so who knows what's out there? And we've been talking about, and NASA wants to revisit the moon. There's been conjecture and statements that people think there's a base on the dark side of the moon, the side of the moon that we never see from here on Earth. That there could be a jumping off point to us here on Earth. There's speculation. People have put that thought out there. And how do we know? We don't know right now.
Yeah, we don't. You're absolutely right. Because we were talking off before the show started, and you had made the reference of the universe and how far away these places might be. The fact that they have the ability to travel that distance and we don't, kind of puts it out there as impossible. But it's if you look at it like this, like I explained to Ernie a little while ago, if you take a drop of rainwater and you put it under a microscope, there are microscopic things in that water drop that are alive and moving and in their own universe, and that water drop expands in their world. That it's our universe as we see it sometimes. They are so microscopic you can't even see them, but we know they're there. That's their universe, as this is ours. It is so vast and so wide and so huge. I mean, to actually think that we were the only ones that's pretty egocentric, I think.
Yes, indeed, absolutely. And back in those days, 1968, there was still a lot of very prominent scientists that were, opposed, thought it was a bunch of nonsense with reports of these UFOs and stuff. But after they saw the evidence, Jay, many of these now favor, further investigation and so forth and so on. And they concluded, many of these in statements on on that paper that I read, that the amount of evidence is overwhelmingly real. And, although they didn't see the craft that we had, but the evidence points to no other acceptable hypothesis than the extraterrestrial visits and so forth and so on. So very prominent scientists that were swayed by the evidence in that top secret copy.
So they saw that. So now, once again, I
indeed.
want to make this perfectly clear to everyone. These are papers you held in your hand and you actually read.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They were also, like I said, still stamped top secret on all the pages, and it was a special compartmentalized, so even restrict further the people that had access to that particular paper. But yes, I got to read the official document, and it was truly amazing, man. Like the hair on my back of my neck was standing up when I was reading this whole thing, because it was truly amazing. Like I said, the investigation involved, and they really, really did a very thorough investigation, and it was quite interesting, their findings and just some of the reports, and like I said, some of the photographic evidence that was obtained as a part of their research is just, like I said, for the most skeptical doubter out there, if you were ever to see that information and get to read it and be a part of that whole thing, that whole paper, man, you would be you would definitely never have a doubt again in your mind.
Now, how many people have you actually talked to about this? I mean, this is. I mean, let's go back. I don't know if you can remember back.
I've mentioned it like I kind of did the other day off the cuff, but nobody's ever really, followed up on that. To be quite honest with you, this is probably the first time I've ever talked about it, with anybody really, even family members. I never really gone into any detail or anything. They kind of poop. Oh yeah, right, okay, yeah, that kind of thing. But
and which is fine. I mean, everybody has their own opinion, but for the cover-up that they've got over this thing, these UFOs, in all these years. You had mentioned earlier that they believe that maybe the public would panic. I can see that 40 years ago, 50 years ago. Maybe you're right about that, but now, I mean, people, their minds are broadened a little more. I don't think there's that panic setting, unless, you see these things coming at you and they start firing. I mean, but I believe if they wanted to take over this planet, they'd have done it already. If they had harmful intentions, they could have done it at any time.
Oh,
There's
yeah,
no
right.
way
Like
we were going to stop them. So
our technology, as far advanced as we think we are, I mean, compared to these extraterrestrials.
We're not even walking yet.
Yeah, right, exactly. That's it. You're absolutely right.
Now, do you believe that they're reverse engineering the things that they have found?
I believe that some of our aircraft, like the B-2 bomber, some of the things that can go without being sensed by radar and so forth and so on.
Yeah, our stealth capabilities.
Stealth technology. So I think we are, although, like I said, when I had read that report, and now, I'm going back now. I left there in 1984, so it's been a while. So there might be updates. They might have identified what, in fact, the craft, what kind of material that was made of. But it was something that was, nothing they've ever seen, obviously, here on Earth. So they were still at that point trying to figure out what the heck that craft was made of. But I believe that a lot of our stealth technology on the B-2 and so forth stem from that particular craft and what they have found. Be quite honest with you, and there are things going on in certain laboratories across this country with regard to research and design of new materials and stuff that would really blow your mind.
I'm sure it would, given the fact that just look at the last 20 years. 20 years ago, nobody had a phone, nobody had a cell phone. If you had one, you had money because it was new technology. 30 years ago. But look how far we've come.
Basically, got the world in your pocket. If you got a little iPhone and you can access the internet and all over the world, the strides have been tremendous in a very short period of time. You're absolutely right about that, Jay.
And it's
absolutely.
I find it amazing. Now, what do you say to people that are now probably listening to this or going to listen to this or going to hear this? Because we're probably going to have to do this again tonight. You know that, right?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
When they say to you, Ernie, come on, you're making shit up now as you go along. What do you say to them?
Well, if you do your research, the Milky Way consists of about 150 billion stars. 6 billion of those are suitable for life-bearing planets, okay, that we know about already. The sun is the only one which we are certain has a life-bearing... let me see here. Let me read this guy. Excuse me here. I wanted to look at this. I was sorry, got preoccupied here for a minute. But
this is major stuff. You're talking to somebody, ladies and gentlemen, that's actually seen the Blue Book reports that never made it to the public. Okay.
Yeah, so, and I like I said, I kind of with you in a way that maybe that it's time for that to be released. Maybe it is time, because I think it's been a long number of years. 68. You're talking like what, over 50 years ago when the original report came out. So I think maybe it's time for the Air Force to reopen this and come up with an updated report alluding to the previous one and release it to the public. I think that might be a good thing. I have no problem with that. Like I said, it's just.
Well, do you think? Let me ask you this question. With all the sightings, and they've increased over the years, we know that much, because people are seeing them all over the place now. You've got cigar shapes and circle shapes. Triangle shapes now are more famous than most. Like the lights over, what was it, Houston? Not Houston. The Houston lights? No. Anyway, the people are seeing things all over the planet.
Absolutely.
Do you think that these extraterrestrials are starting to push the fact that they're allowing us to see them, that they're pushing to a point where they may just say, it's time?
I think it's got to be inevitable at some point in time, because we have some projects we're actually trying to reach out and contact and communicate with some of these extraterrestrials out there. Satellites we sent up in space that repeat. Like I think I forget when the last one was sent up there, but we're reaching out and trying to contact these people, or whatever you want to call them. I'm calling them people, but you know what I'm saying. So I think it's like that one situation back in the 1940s. I think it's inevitable that at some point in time, someone from another galaxy or wherever they're from might reach out and try to converse with our world.
Now, do you think they should go to the government or go straight to the people of the Earth?
Well, if they're smart, they'll avoid the government.
We're going to have to send out our own message. Listen, stay away from the government, whatever you do. They'll tax you to death before they say anything.
Yeah.
John Biven, still with us.
Oh, yeah. John, what have you got to say on this topic?
You've been so quiet. Is there anything?
Hello, John, by the way.
Yes, good evening. Good evening. Good afternoon. Thank you for calling. Goofy, I want to say, if you're listening, I'm sorry, John. John, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but please call back. I caught you the last time you tried to call, and I missed it. So please call back now if you like. If you're out there listening, you got a question, give us a call. 321-348-9665. 321-348-9665. Or you can Skype us on night.talk4. Go, John Viven.
Hey, I just wondered, the report you saw, was it like the report without all the heavy redactions in it?
Yeah, exactly. Wow.
They were top secret reports,
It was the complete, unadulterated, yes, indeed, report that I saw. And it's, again, it's just, I do remember that, part of it was that, based on the amount of suitable abodes, like I just mentioned, in our galaxies and galaxies beyond, that are surprisingly abundant, places where life could exist, I think it's got to, strongly state that, there are countless extraterrestrial societies older than those on Earth, obviously. And because of these older societies, they're particularly more advanced societies, their technologies and so forth greatly surpass our own. But, it's like I said, it's just a matter of time, I think, to answer Jay's question a minute ago, that, we'll have some kind of interaction with these entities at some point in time. There's no doubt about it. But, so I did, again, John, see the unredacted full report as it was issued at the time in a top secret way. And like I said, it's never going to be released to the public. Never going to see the light of day.
And Project Blue Book, let's see, reflected changes after the final report. Project.
There's a lot of good information that, if you read that copy that's available to the public, and it is out there on the internet, the original Blue Book that was recommended, that was put out to the public with regard to this investigation. If you read through that, you're gonna know, without the government saying that they really without coming out and admitting it, that in fact what we speculated all along is absolutely true, with regard to our visits and them being so true, and some of the other stories involved that are put into this paper.
Well, that's got to be, because Project Blue Book started in 1947, and it culminated in December of 1969. So you said 68. You're right there. You're right in that right. Time period, right at the end of it, where the project was almost done. And they actively investigated reports and sightings of unidentified flying objects, UFOs, under a program called Project Blue Book. And they have investigated over 12,000 sightings, and 701 of those sightings remained unidentified.
Right.
So, I mean, it's...
That's because they could not disprove that, in fact, what the people were saying, that the witness, the craft or whatever you, that they could not dismiss their
701 cases cannot be explained.
Right.
701, that's a lot.
And that was just in the United States they were doing investigation. You talk about, globally, actually, as we know, many other places in the world, and occasionally you read in the paper, that this was cited or that was seen or that.
Well, even the MOD over in England, the Ministry of Defense, has declassified a lot of of their documentation on UFOs.
Right. I think it's time we probably do that too. As like you were just talking about. I think people in this day and age could probably handle it much more so than maybe back when those days when Orson Welles did his War of the Worlds kind of thing. But
I don't. If you put it out in a sensible way and where people can understand it. I think they would welcome it in open arms. I think.
So I'm sorry we interrupted John. John, what were you saying earlier about your feelings on all this stuff?
Well, even in the Bible, there's a kind of a cryptic thing where Jesus says, I have another flock.
Right. There you go.
Which a lot of people are like, I wonder what he's talking about. Is there, because I'm from a kind of creationist viewpoint, and a lot of the religious people think that we're probably the only ones because of but who's to say that if God even if God created everything, why would he only create us? There may be other things out there. So, I've had some experiences of my own that, I can't explain. And and I think a lot of people have. So.
Right, yeah, very interesting.
So in your, you mentioned that Jesus had mentioned he had another flock. In relative to what he was talking about, can you discern what he meant? Could there have been I don't know, maybe a flock he left in Jerusalem somewhere, or was he talking about? Well, let me ask this question: what makes you think he was talking about other beings?
I'd have to read through it again to get a good grasp on the context of what he was talking about, but it did allude to, it was just weird where he said it and the context where he was talking. It was just kind of out of place with, it wasn't, you guys here and these guys in Mesopotamia or something like that. This was weird.
Now this is in the Bible, John?
Yeah, it's in the Bible. I'll have to look it up.
I've got the Bible right in front of me. I took it out. Do you know what part it's in?
Okay, look it up.
I don't know how to do that.
I know. That's what I mean. I'm gonna have to do a little bit of research on that.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe you had an idea of where you read it.
No, not off the top of my head.
Okay, there is let's see, prophets. Let's see in the back here.
Check the book of Ezekiel in the Old Testament.
Yeah, Ezekiel?
Really?
Verses 4, chapters 1 and 2, verse 4, 6, 10, 13 to 19.
Is that the wheel within a wheel?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, all right, the book of the prophets? Ezekiel?
Verse 4, the Old Testament I'm talking about now.
Well, this is, my copy is containing the Old and New Testaments in the King James
Yeah, that's
version.
what I have here. If you look at the...
So the book of the prophet Ezekiel, 4, and I looked, and behold, a whirlwind came out of the north, a great cloud, and a fire enfolding itself, and a brightness was about it, and out of the mists, therefore, as the color of amber, out of the mists of the fire.
See that? There you go.
Also out of the mists, therefore, came the likeness of 4 living creatures, and this was their appearance. They had the likeness of a man, and everyone had 4 faces, and everyone had 4 wings, and their feet were straight feet, and the sole of their feet was like the sole of a calf's foot, and they sparkled like the color of the burnished brass.
Yeah, so think about that.
And they had the hands of a man under their wings, on their 4 sides. and they four had their faces and their wings. That's amazing.
There you go. So there are allusions to, being visited and aliens and different so forth and so on right there in the
Bible. Yeah, here, Ezekiel 13. As for the likeliness of the living creatures, their appearance was like burning coals of fire and like the appearance of lamps. It went up and down among the living creatures, and the fire was bright, and out of the fire went forth lightning. And the living creatures ran and returned as the appearance of a flash of lightning. Now as I behold the living creatures, behold one wheel upon the earth by the living creatures, with his four faces. Wow.
Yeah, and those quotations and verses are actually included in the paper.
The ones that you saw?
Yeah, they make reference to that's part of the footnotes. You'll see even in the release copy to the public, in the footnotes section, you'll see where they have that listed in their book of Ezekiel and some of those passages from the Old Testament.
Wow, that is so interesting. Let's see. So where can people go to get a copy of Project Blue Book? Let's see.
I can put a link right here in the. How about I put a link in the chat room here?
Okay, you got information. Well, if you go to National Archives, Freedom of Information Act, Unidentified Flying Objects, Project Blue Book, you've got general information, reference report relating to the Project Blue Book, U.S. Air Force fact sheet on UFOs and Project Blue Book, reference reporting and relating to Majestic 12, which was the program before Project Blue Book, I think, or was that after? Well, Majestic 12 was a group of men that came to the decision that they should not let this out, I believe.
Right, yeah.
And there's also a link for information on the Roswell incident. All right. Did you put that in the chat yet there, sir?
I'm doing that right now. I got to go over to your... I'm off on a different page, obviously. Let me go over to the Sandsman Abbott page here. And let me see here. Hold on, give me a minute here. I'll put that in there. Sandsnet Radio Network. But, yeah, very interesting stuff here. Let me put this...
I find this amazing, and I find that people...
paste. There we go.
Have not cornered you and asked you and talked to you about this. I mean,
like I said, I mentioned it, but most friends and family. Yeah, okay, all right, Ernie, all right, yeah, no problem, man. No, yeah, okay, whatever.
Well, maybe that's just because they don't want to know, which is fine. But there are a lot of people out here that are very interested to talk to you, Ernie. A lot of people, and I'm sure there are questions out there. So if you have questions, the chat is open. You can call us 321-348-9665. And Skype us on night.talk4, night.talk4. That's not the word dot, but a real dot. NIGHT dot, TALK 4 on Skype. And we'll take your calls. If you got questions, we'll try and answer them in the 20 minutes we have left. I do believe we're going to have to continue this discussion tonight on Night Talk as well. So we're going to ask everybody to call back. And Goofy Bone, what's up, pal? How are you?
Yeah, read that report. Sorry,
this is my sixth time calling. I'm sorry, Ernie. I didn't mean to cut you off.
You're
like sorry, buddy.
So
Goofy Bone, welcome in, my friend. How you doing?
I'm doing good, but I don't want to burst your guys' bubbles right now.
Oh, go right ahead, if you can.
Okay. Most of the UFO sightings that have been seen are probably man-made objects.
Okay, all right. But wait a minute. Before you go on, and I will agree with that, but I will ask you this as a personal question from me to you. You know Ernie Abbott. Would you say you trust Ernie?
Yes, I do.
Okay. The man is telling you that he held those papers in his hands, read those papers to himself and everybody else in the room, with top clearance, right? And he's read these papers where it states they do exist.
No, I did not deny they didn't exist. I was going to explain myself before a stash decided to turn upside down and sweep the floor right in front of me.
Go ahead. All right. I'm just trying to stay,
Now, look.
Go ahead.
The Roswell, New Mexico thing, that was real.
Okay.
From that day forth, we've had technology.
Yep.
Look at it.
True.
Okay? Now, whatever happened to that alien ship, I mean, you know, it wasn't supposed to be here. It got off course or whatever. But they learned that they weren't supposed to be there. They learned that these people are like scouts, you know, going out to different worlds and checking them out.
Yeah,
That's
like the original Star Trek voyages, more or less, Goofy Bone, you know?
Kind of, yeah. I don't know. I'm not really a Star Trek fan, but yeah. So anyways, we've learned their technology and how they have the little, you know, UFO-shaped spheres or whatever you want to call them. Since then, the government has been putting together their own UFOs. They have been, you know, trying to modify a space-looking object to go to outer space so we could travel through space. And it's been happening since then. And it's still happening to this very day. And how do I know this stuff? My father was conned into fucking thinking he was going to, you know, donate some money into a project that was going to help people. But later on, he finds out that it was there to fund, I think it was a Navy or something, like a UFO kind of ship. It looked like a, what did he say? Like a one of those little hover things that go over water. Like, oh, Jesus Christ, I forgot the names of those things. But anyways, so the government, they've made some, but yet they haven't perfected it to go to outer space. Now, a lot of people have been seeing them, and I'm going to tell you right now, 1% of all those you know, sightings, they're real. Because they don't come here just to look around. You know, they just come here to basically see how are we evolving. If you look back in the days when the Mayans and all them, they were showing up all the time. I'm sorry to say, you think people are just going to come up with, you know, drawings and, you know, clay figures and different size monuments just because somebody had a vision? I mean, seriously.
I happen to agree with you on that one.
Now, the reason why these the aliens came to see, you know, the whatever, the Indians or, you know, whatever, is because those were not, they weren't threatened by them.
Right.
They weren't, you know, there was no weapons to where they would be destroyed. Now, us, for instance, if they came right now, you know, I'm telling you right now, we would have, you know, if we had physical, seriously evidence of just them floating right there, we would have a craze. People would go in the streets and go crazy, and, you know, you got people shooting at it, you know?
Do you honestly think that would happen if the government, if what Ernie's saying is the truth, and I have no reason to doubt him, that he's seen these papers and that they do exist and it's real, it's true, that if the government put it out in bits and pieces and prepared the general public to receive this information, don't you think they'd do it? I mean, do you actually think that people would start going nuts?
Plausible deniability.
Plausible deniability.
Let me tell you something, Jay. They could tell us anything, but until we physically see it, I mean, seriously, see it, then that's when we start, you know.
People have seen it. I mean,
you know, but I mean, real, like, you know, certain people see it.
Mass,
you know?
sightings.
I'm talking about, like, say one's floating over my city right now. You would have the whole city of San Jose that's seen it. Now, right there, that would be kind of crazy. You know, you would have, like I said, probably people going insane shooting at it. You know, I know a couple of the gang members that would shoot at it. You know?
Well, that's stupidity. I mean, I would think.
Exactly.
You know.
But you don't know how people react to certain things.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Now, if I seen it, I'll sit back and smoke and wait until we make contact. But I'm going to tell you right now, the government, they're making UFOs. And they're testing them out. That's why you see different kinds of versions. Now, I've heard a lot of people say that over here in Southern California, they see him go into the water. Now, I don't know if you've heard that one.
Yes, I've heard. Yeah, they say that there are bases. Well, if you think about it, 98% of the seas on this planet haven't even been looked at. So I mean, it's all. They're still coming up with new, creatures that they find as far as they can go, and there are places that we can't even go. So, yeah, is it possible? Sure, it's possible. Especially if we can't get there and see and look around. It's a perfect place to hide, I would think.
Well,
yeah.
I'm just saying that. Oh no, I'm almost done, Edward. I'm sorry. I'm just saying that our government, all the money that's been funded for them, and plus outside money, like my father, who thought he was doing something for good, they're making things way beyond what we imagine that they're making. And I'm telling you right now, some of the sightings, like I said, 1% could be true, because like I said, they come out here to scout us, to see where we are, Are we going to be, a threat, or are we going to be, a peaceful society to them? Because that's the only reason that stops them from coming over here.
I encourage everybody, you go into Google right now and type in new aircraft, and it'll give you a number of different photographs of aircraft that's being worked on and conceptualized, drawing out. Check that out. Type in new aircraft, and then go into that page and look at the photographs, and there's some very amazing things shown there. You'll see in regards to what Goofy Bone was just saying about some of the technology and some of the advancements and some of the things that are being worked on, and incredible stuff. And there are laboratories and government, some of these, a lot of colleges that have an office on aerodynamics or what have you that are working on a lot of this stuff, and it's research and design is unbelievable. Some of the stuff there that's being thought about and developed, light years ahead of what we have now, man. It's amazing, some of the stuff. You talk about thinking out of the box.
I want to go back to something that I'm sorry. Ed is with us, Southern Cowboy. I'm sorry, we just got into this discussion. Is there something you wanted to say, Ed?
Yeah, I put some stuff in the chat, but nobody seems to read it.
Well, because we're so involved in the conversation. We apologize.
Back in, I think it was 2000, 2001, I was down in Texas driving my truck, and all of a sudden the sky lit up like it was freaking noon all over again, and it stayed that way for about, 10 minutes, and then went right back to black. And last year, I was sitting outside on my front porch and saw this real bright light up there in the sky. And then all of a sudden it just broke into 3 different paces and went in 3 different directions. So I know there's something out there.
Yeah, see.
Well, now, if that was going with what Goofy said a little while ago, that there are new, not that he's discounting, that's not what I'm saying, but, people, first of all, people seeing, if they were, like he just said, over his city and people would see it, that would be a mass sighting. But there was a mass sighting over Houston, the Houston Lights. The whole city saw what was going on that night, and still people called him crazy, and didn't believe what they said.
I don't know if that Houston thing was the same thing I saw. But
no, it's different from what you saw.
I was right in the middle of Texas, and you could see for miles. It was just like it was noon all over again, and it stayed that way for like 10 minutes, and then all of a sudden it just dropped back to black.
And how long did that take?
What, for it to go from dark to black?
Yeah, for the whole incident that you witnessed.
It was just instantly.
Instant. Well, we know nothing
blinding,
on this planet
much.
can work that way. We know that for sure. That's just, well, from what we know, we don't. That's instantaneous. Nothing that we own can move like that.
Right.
No.
Exactly.
Now, you can't say it's a star. You can't say it's a weather phenomenon or reflection or. Are you around any water where you saw this thing?
No.
All right, so it can't be reflection off water. People see
everybody
things.
for miles was talking about it on the CB.
How long ago was this?
I think it was 2000, 2001, somewhere around in there. I was down there in Texas, and it's just like instantaneously, bright as day. It was like noontime all over again. And it stayed that way for 10 minutes and then instantaneously went back to black. I mean, I had to stop my truck because I couldn't see.
That's amazing. That is amazing.
Do you know that the government, when they found that alien spaceship back at Roswell, they got so much technology, and they have a technology where they could shut down lights, like electricity. Like anything that has, a voltage or something, it will be shut down.
Yeah, and they can turn it back on again. Yeah, a lot of people have said that that's happened to them. Where they've on old dirt roads way out in the country, they come up on this light, comes over them, everything dies. They lose 2, 3 hours, 4 hours of time. They come back, their car starts up, and everything's fine, except they got red faces. I mean,
well, that's part of our war plan. That's part of what we're going to do. If we ever have a country we have to go attack, we're going to essentially shut down their power grid. We know how to do that.
Yeah.
EMPs will do that too.
Yeah. It can be done. It can be done. But the whole thing about all of this that we're talking about this afternoon is the fact that somebody I know and trust has actually seen, or tells me he's seen, Project Blue Book, or the pages from that project that never saw the light of day. I find that
I think
amazing.
that'll come out, like John was just saying, and everybody. I think it needs to come out now. Like I said, this is a worldwide thing here. They studied sightings here in the United States, but you go anywhere. You go to India, you go to Russia. They've had sightings all around the world. So the evidence is overwhelming, and I think people realize deep down they know that that these facts are in fact true.
I'd say some of them are indisputable. I don't know.
Like I said, even if you read that link I put up for that original Blue Project paper released in 1968, if you read through that, they didn't come right out and say 100% for certain. But if you read that, you can't come back out with any other answer.
You put that in the Sands and Abbott chat
rooms.
Yeah. What's that?
DJ Danny Phantom in the chat room also said that he's had a sighting in his town too, where a UFO landed in a park.
Danny Phantom?
Yep.
How come I don't see him in the chat?
Why the hell would a UFO want to go to New Jersey? That's all I want to know.
He's up there at the top of the chat.
I'm just kidding, Danny.
No, see, I've changed. I've been going back and forth on the website, so I don't know why I missed
Project
it,
Blue Book, is that the Blue Book that they wrote all the alien information down from Roswell?
Yes, that's the one he's talking about.
Right, yeah.
And do you know why they called it Blue Book?
Do you know?
Why no?
Yeah, do you know?
The origins of the name, why they came up with that name, I don't know. Maybe because of the
little pad that they had that they're writing all this stuff down. It was blue on the outside.
Okay. See, I did not know that.
That's an interesting little bit of information. Ernie, could you put that Project Blue Book webpage in the chat again? Because I can't see it.
Yeah.
Somehow I missed it.
Okay.
But that's something that I would
Give
like
me a minute or two here. Yes, indeed.
Again, if you go by the numbers, they say numbers don't lie, and they usually don't. I mean, if you look at just in our galaxy alone, there's 100 million stars, and hundreds
what I didn't
of billions
realize.
of millions of stars throughout the universe. You're going to tell me that? I mean, and scientists are finding planets that are evolving around stars out there in other galaxies. They're finding them. They're seeing them.
Back
so
in the Blue Book,
there.
it mentioned there are over 600 that they know that could inhabit life.
There you go. And that was what? 30, 40, something years ago? So
64 years ago or whatever. Yeah. Let me go back here.
Go back there, get this. So we've got John Bivin, we've got Goofy Bone, and we've got a Sergeant at Arms with us here. Let's get back to you, John Bivin. I mean, is there anything else you'd like to? We've got a few minutes left. I want to give everybody a chance.
I just want to tell you I found that scripture.
Oh, you did?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I did.
And where is it?
It's John 10, Book of John, verse 10. He's talking about how he's the good shepherd. And in the translation of the Bible in Basic English, it says, from John 10, verse 13, it says, because he is a servant, he's no interest in the sheep. He's talking about bad shepherds. And then he says, I am the good keeper. I have knowledge of my sheep, and they have knowledge of me. Even as the Father has knowledge of me, and I of the Father, and I am giving my life for the sheep. And then in John 10, verse 16, he says, and I have other sheep which are not of this field, or not in this field. And the word is ole in Greek, and it's like a yard or as open to the wind. Okay, and I will be their guide in the same way, and they will give ear to my voice, so there will be one flock and one keeper, and for this reason I'm loved by my Father. So, it's like, he's talking about his sheep that know his voice and all that kind of stuff, and he knows his sheep, and he's talking about the people that he's leading here. And then he says, and I have other sheep that aren't in this yard. They're not on this earth, basically. And that's what gives rise to speculation that he may be talking about some other world somewhere.
Well, and that gives us the sound that we've got about a minute and a half left. John, thank you I hope you can come back tonight. We're going to continue this on Night Talk, ladies and gentlemen. So if you haven't really heard, we had a little flub with, could have been the NSA, I don't know. But we're going to continue this on Night Talk tonight, ladies and gentlemen, 10 o'clock. I'm going to ask Ernie to come back, John, Goofy Bone, and Ed, if you all come back tonight. We'll meet again about, 10:30 or so, and we'll pick this up again. What do you say, guys?
I'm going to put some links up on your show wall so people can do some little investigation and reading before the show tonight.
Cool. Then they'll have questions, and maybe we can answer them. But yes. I think this is something that we can continue. It's something that a lot of people should hear and can make their own justifications on what we've talked about today, what Ernie has said. And if you've got experiences that you want to share with us tonight, please do that as well. We've got about 40 seconds left, so I'm going to go around the table quickly. You got 5 seconds each. Ernie, say goodbye.
Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you later tonight at 10 p.m.
John.
Yeehaw. Hopefully I'll be there.
Goofy Bone.
Later.
And Ed. It was dropped off. Okay. Well, on behalf of Ed, I'll say thank you. We'll see you at Night Talk tonight, 10 o'clock, ladies and gentlemen. Be there. You're good?